All right, guys. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do something a little bit different. I think if you guys, all of you guys have gotten to know me a little bit, we've had conversations, and I'm a big fan of not recreating the wheel. I'm all about efficiencies. And so today we're going to do kind of a training, but I found that they actually have a train the trainer video on this content. So what I want to do is, do you guys have the download, the workbooks? Do you guys have that? Anyone?
Yeah.
You do? You do have the workbook?
It's a big binder, right?
No, here, let me send it to you. Let me get my screen back up. It is the participant guide. Today we're going to go over Ignite Elementals, and it's all on prospecting, something I know a little bit about. So let me just put this in the chat window. Bear with me for a second, guys. I just got to get on this. I'm moving faster than my computer. Okay, so there's the participant guide. I'm uploading it. It's two megabytes. So it's in the chat. Just go ahead and download that. So here's what we're going to do. Open that up on your screen. Let's go through this together. We're going to watch the video together, maybe 5 minutes in each section. I'm going to pause it, and then we're going to have a group talk about it. Okay. And we're going to go with the participant guide. So I think this is going to work out really well because I'm going to be walking you guys through this, taking the notes with you, and I want you guys to get value out of this stuff. And I think that this might be a better way of doing that. Are you guys good with that?
Sure.
Duke's good.
Yep,
All right.
sounds good.
Russell's good. Laura, you good? Matt, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Now, I just said that your name was Mount Fiji. You didn't even hear me.
My sound wasn't working. I just got the word out.
Oh.
I figured I knew you said it now.
Have you ever, I'm sure you've never heard that before, huh?
I just tell people I own the Fiji water.
I like that idea. I'm just going to tell people that you own Fiji water too. So, all right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Did you guys all download the workbook?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and share my screen. Let me go ahead and share. Let's get the audio tied in. If you guys have any questions, write it down or, interrupt and we will address those. So let's go ahead and, okay, I'm sharing that.
Where do you need to get more organized around your touch programs and your organization?
Okay, Hey, Russell, sound check. Can you guys hear that sound?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to play DJ, guys. So let's do this.
All right. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're from. My name is Paul Campanero. I'm team leader at the Northwest Market Center in Austin, Texas. And I'm excited today because we're going to jump into my favorite conversation, prospecting. But before we attach any negative connotations to the word prospecting, look, prospecting's all about conversations. And ultimately, we know we get paid by what we say and how often we say it as professionals. And so prospecting is just another word for being intentional about creating conversations, making connections. And look, ultimately, that's what allows us to serve more people.
All right, guys. So I'm going to pause it right there because I want to put something out. The fact that he brought up that I don't want to put up any negative connotations on prospecting is in fact putting a negative connotation on prospecting, right? So I want to just talk to you guys a little bit about the definition of prospecting because it's not the same thing as what it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Prospecting is simply the activity to get out there and find something. You can get out and prospect for gold. You can get out there and prospect for leads. Right? It's whatever you need to do. Now in real estate, traditionally it's door knocking and telephone prospecting. Actually it's not even real estate. That's in sales, right? There's nothing bad about this. We're salespeople. We get compensated off of a sale. We know that 80% of our time needs to be sales. It is just, it's just what you got to do. So I'll go ahead and push play. I just wanted to tie that in.
So prospecting was something I had to be intimately familiar with, starting as a full-time agent in Las Vegas, Nevada in 2008. The perfect time to get involved in real estate. I was originally I'm from Rochester, New York, so I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. I didn't know anybody, and so not only did I not have a sphere to be able to work off of and work my database more diligently, I was building that in the process. The market was crashing, and so while the market was crashing, my career was careening upwards because I was really, really intentional about prospecting, and we're gonna get into all those attributes in regards to how to prioritize prospecting and tie your why to that, because when you can tie your why to prospecting, that will drive you through the fire when you don't feel like it, because newsflash, prospecting is not just when you're motivated, because feelings fade. And so prospecting really is prioritizing your connections with people so that you can create those conversations. And when you tie your why to that, that'll help you drive through the fact that the market's crashing. That was what was happening to me in 2008 in Las Vegas, Nevada, or that I'm new to the business. So not only was I new to the business, I had to learn to speak short sale. A whole different type of prospecting. And so if I could do it when the market was crashing as a brand new agent in January of 2008 and create new conversations to build my sphere faster and go from 14 to 36 to 52 to 129 transactions year 1, 2, 3, and 4, then look, you can do it in this fantastic economy that we're in. And regardless of how fantastic it is for you where you are, at the end of the day, again, this is just about creating conversations to connect with people. And so today, this session for participants, you're going to be able to describe prospecting and how it contributes to your lead generation efforts. We're going to look at explaining the different types of prospecting. And hey guys, I want to make sure that participation's fantastic today. So make sure that if there's an opportunity to engage, this makes it much more enjoyable for both of us when you're interacting and engaging. So I love to hear back on any thoughts, comments, questions, fears, delusions on our conversation today around prospecting. We're also going to make sure that participants are going to learn how to develop your own prospecting plan. And so with that, let's jump right in. We're going to be talking today about the grow aspect of your business. That's our focus today, is lead generating for buyers and sellers. And for those of you who've been following along for Spark and now Ignite, you've seen this outline before. But today, again, we're zeroing right in for lead generation and the differences between proactive and direct aggressive prospecting. So for the outline today, first we're going to talk about prospecting to lead generation. Then we'll move to diving deep on different prospecting methods. From there, we'll move to taking action and developing a plan. And then finally, we'll recap and talk about ahas and create a success list so that you can move forward. So not just differentiating, that's the technicality of this whole thing, but really understanding how can I take initial next best steps forward for you to be able to engage with prospecting that you can begin to get excited about. If you're not excited about it yet, begin to get excited, because when I can tie the fact that this is about serving more people, then I may be more apt to start engaging prospecting methods that are going to be in alignment with my personality type and my character. All right, so let's look at the lead generation model. Somewhat familiar here for those of you who've meandered and gandered through the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And prospecting and marketing ultimately starts with capturing leads at the end of the day. And then turning those leads into opportunities and having contacts and really being able to create touch programs. And really that's what Command is going to be the biggest benefit right now for you guys with Command, is organizing around those contacts and leads. And look, especially for you newbies, and for some of you, look, I coach and consult 50 million, $100 million plus producers, and the number one thing that is always an issue, regardless how long or how successful you are in the business, is organizing around your database. And so I want to strongly encourage you to take a look at where do you need to get more organized around your touch programs and your organization with your database, whether they're Mets or unmets, people that I've met and that I know they like me, they love me, people that I don't know, they're leads, and I'm moving them through the funnel here and cultivating them with those touch programs. ultimately so that I can get to an appointment. And so when I know that there's a process here, whether it's people that I know or people that I don't know, and each of them have their own touch programs, then I can filter them through that process and stay organized about staying in touch. Because look, this is a people business, right? And for many of you who got in the business, you knew that, and you're like, yes, I love talking to people, I want to serve. And that human aspect and element of connection for many of you comes easy. And yet it's a people business, and the business side of it is being intentional about how you touch them, how you stay connected to them, how you systematize this process, systematize this relationship so that you can serve more people. When you get organized about that, when you get more, for those of you who've been around a little while, for you, and you get more organized around that, man, you're gonna see conversion ratios begin to see that trajectory move forward faster, because a little bit of organization goes a long way when you implement systems and models like this. All right.
All right, let's pause it right there, guys. He
Lead
nailed a big thing on there that I really kind of want to talk about. Matt, what did you hear him say? Did you take anything away with what he just said right there?
Systemizing the whole process of being in a people's business. I think that's what I'm struggling
Systemizing,
with.
knowing the whole process. What about you, Russell? Did you take anything away from him saying that?
No, I just agree with Matt, but no, but yeah, I
So
definitely
so
do.
here's what I mean. Okay. Prospecting is going out and finding people, right? Our job is, and we're in sales. Our jobs are to find people to sell our services to. So service is the real estate side is the business side, but everything that we're doing here is, as far as sales training, as far as prospecting, Russell, you're a good example of this because you came from timeshares, right? Everything that we do, you could just pick up and put into something else. Here's the reason why you'll never get me to say, in fact, I think you guys have heard me say a lot of times, I'm in this side of real estate because I don't like selling houses. But here's the thing about, if you're going to be in sales, being sales, you've also heard me say that I'm a big fan of doing the least amount of effort to maximize my gain. And the income that you can generate in real estate is by far surpasses anything, especially in Southern Orange County. Look, you could do 12 transactions a year at $1 million. 12 transactions a year, an average sales price is $1 million. That's not, that's like a 2,000 square foot home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 4-bedroom, 3-bath, here in Irvine. And, you do one of those a month, not only are you in the top 10% of producing agents in the market, but you're making a pretty decent income. $25,000, $30,000 a piece, you're making $250,000, $300,000 gross. I can tell you, doing one transaction a month is not the equivalent to a full-time job. Not in the way that we look at it. Right. So that's why I really love the industry that we're in, but I like the fact that you guys picked up on that. So we'll go ahead and go from there.
Operation should always be purposeful and intentional. And I'm laughing because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day as far as what's happening. Now, when you're new, it's the training and the conversations that you're having around the market center to figure out what next best steps are. When you even get a little bit busy where you're doing a deal a month or every other month, you get caught up in what's happening with the transactions, and you're being pulled with calls and escrow, buyer, seller, lender on what you should be doing. And so it could get pretty easily, you can get caught up in not doing what you're supposed to be doing, certainly time blocking, right? And so being purposeful and intentional about your lead generation is going to be important. And so the first point of being purposeful, intentional would be your message. So what is your message when you're prospecting? Now, whether it's direct or indirect marketing, or you're creating your marketing, or you're creating direct conversations around your prospecting, what's my message? And so the first point there, you see match your market. And so who's your people? What's your target? And what's that mean for your message? Now, it could be more generalized, and you guys have awesome tools that Gary's given us on Keller Offers and Keller
So guys, what they're
Mortgage for you to
talking
be able to
about is what
create a
everything that we've always
message.
talked about is identifying your who. Who are you going to work with? And then developing out that message to that who.
So that you can target these audiences, and your message may even be curtailed around market conditions. But look, start simple. You have a message to be able to utilize some of these tools like Keller Mortgage and Keller Offers to be able to create a message that's uniform and consistent, and that ultimately creates a next best step, creates a call to action, whether it's directly or indirectly, to be able to help them move forward. Now, method is just how I'm doing it, right? Because I'm prospecting and I'm out there creating conversations, or I'm marketing and I'm creating the opportunities to create conversations. But both are methods to be able to move forward with creating the opportunities for conversations. Because again, my job is to talk to people, and I know that I get paid to socialize, and whether I'm creating those opportunities through conversations and prospecting expireds or for sale by owners or door knocking or open houses, or I'm creating marketing content to create the opportunity for those conversations via snail mail or social media. At the end of the day, I'm looking to create opportunities for more conversations. And so doing that ultimately is rooted around being intentional, because that's where we started, being purposeful and intentional around time blocking. Now, for some of you, this is something that you got to get better at because you're not doing it that well. For some of you, you have a beautiful calendar and there's colors and it looks fantastic, and yet you're not following the schedule as far as what's time blocked. Because when we're starting, it's preparing with what I'm doing with my time blocking for the type of prospecting. What type of prospecting am I doing? So if I time block and I prepare to time block for the specific type of prospecting that I'm doing, then that's going to tell a certain type of preparation. So I'm down below there on, can they see my arrow? Oh, they can. Okay, lovely. If you're preparing for, let's say, open houses, what happens with your ability to set up for the open house, to market the open house, to make circle prospect around the open house? For expireds and for sale by owners, how do you prepare for the data? What's your pre-prospecting routine? Maybe you haven't heard that before. What do I do before I get started to get my head in the game, certainly to get my body in the game so that I have physiological and psychological alignment? Because look, these conversations, look, they're $5,000 conversations to you, $10,000 conversations to you, $30,000 conversations to you. To these clients, these prospects, these are $300,000 conversations, right? The value of their home. They're $1 million conversations. So these are very important questions for you to be able to prepare for. And I challenge you to not just time block your prospecting time, but time block your preparation and label it. Just don't label open house. Which open house is it going to be at? Just don't label expireds. Are they fresh expireds or are they old expireds? Just don't label it circle prospecting. Label the neighborhood you're going to be circle prospecting on to up the level of your intentionality. Is that a word? Just go with it. Or how purposeful you're being to make sure that you're creating this process and this consistency to be more efficient and effective. And ultimately, you're going to take action. And so after preparation is your ability to take action and get into action and then maintain. Look, that's keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, because that can be the hardest part, is remaining consistent. Now, look, not just consistent with I time block to prospect for an hour, and I actually do that, versus I allow my phone to get in the way, and all of a sudden I see it ringing. Pretend this is a phone, and I see the phone's ringing, and I get distracted there, because distractions are the devil. So make sure that you're turning your phone off, or you put your phone in another room, or you're prospecting in a different station than you would be if you were doing administrative work. That's what I'm talking about on maintaining your consistency with your prospecting hour or hours while you're doing them, but then also the broader scale of how consistent you're being with how often you're prospecting. Knowing that administrative work, servicing your clients are elements that are going to weave their way and trickle in on breaking up your schedule, on your time blocks. Look, that's called okay. Give yourself some grace with that, because it'll happen. And how are you coming back to that and removing distractions and setting yourself up for success so that not only can you maintain consistency within the designated time blocks, but then over longer periods of time, how you can remain consistent with prospecting. Because look, how am I going to create a bigger mindset with how important prospecting is? Creating conversations. Now you got to relabel it: lead generation, creating conversation, connection time. Look, I don't know, but if you don't have a lead problem, you don't have a problem. There are no problems until you have too many lead problems, my inability to deal with leads. So if I don't prospect, ultimately I don't have anything. And so my inability to prioritize the importance of prospecting, man, that can cost me a lot of money if I haven't figured out how to make adjustments on my mindset and create some consistency. All right, so essentially, what page are we on? Be prospecting based. So essentially, when you're first starting your business, look, it should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Well, why is it best to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? I'd love to hear some ideas while I'm moving through here. But what are your thoughts around why it's important to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? You can give me a little keyboard through Slido, or you.
All right, guys, let's tie into that. Why is it better to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? Anyone want to chime in? Give me your opinions on that.
When you're prospecting yourself, you're communicating directly with the potential client, whereas marketing, you have to go through a series of funnels.
Okay. What about Russell? Do you have anything about prospecting versus marketing enhanced? Marketing and actually, you should say marketing and technology enhanced. You're on mute, buddy.
It's a little bit more direct for prospecting.
Okay.
And then for marketing, obviously, it takes a little bit more effort if you're going the digital route.
Okay, so let me give you guys the most simple definition of this. Prospecting is going out and finding business. Marketing is attracting business, right? That's why you always want to have you want to have a kind of a balanced business. Now, in the office's mission statement, I put in there that we are a prospecting based and marketing and technology enhanced company that is laser focused on helping our real estate agents take and close 1 to 2 listings per month so that they can increase income and profitability. That's our mission statement. That's not any other Keller Williams. That is Keller Williams Irvine mission statement. And I drink that Kool-Aid, and I encourage everybody else to drink the Kool-Aid, because the one thing that has saved me time and time again in my 2 decades in the business is the ability to pick up the phone, or is the ability to go out there and search. Now, you don't have to do telephone prospecting. You don't have to do door knocking. There are a dozen different platforms. If you're doing the activities that you're going out and looking for business, it could be in line for Starbucks. I've never done that, but it could be. The key here is just to always be on the lookout. So really, being in sales, being an independent contractor, you're always prospecting because you're always looking for deals. We now continue with this normally scheduled program.
You can raise your hand and hold down your mic if you're interested in prospecting is cost effective. Thank you, Mr. Anonymous. They have to opt in their names there to marketing.
Let's bring it forward.
Prospecting gives you an opportunity to practice scripts and skills. I love that one because we get paid by what we say and how often we say it. So look, whether you get leads from internet leads or expireds or FSBOs or door knocking or even your sphere of influence, the quality of your conversations are going to be in direct proportion to your business, how much business you get, because you got to get them to trust you to be able to sit down at the kitchen table. And then once they're at the kitchen table, get them to trust you We're talking about the speed of trust here, to sign a contract. And so prospecting is a direct tool for you to enhance your communication skills. So I always get a little perturbed when people talk down about scripts or about role play. Look, that's the number one skill that we have is the relationships. Nobody's going to argue with that, right? Is that our superpower is the relationships. And yet I'm not dedicated to be able to create better conversations and relationships through some practice, knowing that every highly skilled professional in the world practices at a high level. That's what I'm going to need to be able to do. And prospecting is an immediate opportunity to enhance and create opportunity around those skills. Prospecting is time intensive. So look, I'm going to have to spend a lot of money or a lot of time. Look, there's only two places to get leads: people I know, people I don't know. And there's only two ways to get those leads in those groups. I pay for them or I go get them. Now, the marketing we talked about as far as it being money intensive, and prospecting, while it's not as money intensive, and it may be a little bit money intensive, certainly nowhere near the commitment on money on the marketing side, it's going to be time intensive. So I have to learn how to master repetitious boredom. The highest paid players in the world, and by players I mean business people, the highest paid people in the world learn to master repetitious boredom. It's not exciting sometimes being at an open house and having conversations or waiting for a conversation. You could go an hour or more waiting for that conversation to occur. You're making calls to expireds or for sale by owners or just listed, just sold in your area, and it may take 10 or 15 calls to even get one person to say hello. And so these are time-intensive activities that I have to find out, how do I keep my mind in the game? We talked before about having a pre-prospecting routine, but how can I keep my mind in the game knowing that this is time-intensive? It will take time. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time or a lot of money or both. But certainly marketing or prospecting is, you're going to have to invest heavily in either or, both of those or one of those. Prospecting is proactive, and certainly it can produce immediate results. I love that, especially when I was getting started in 2008. I had maybe barely 2 months of income, and I have a 5-year-old and I have a 2-year-old, and I needed money right now. And so I had to go out and prospect for expireds and for sale by owners because I didn't have a database, a significant database yet. And so I was under pressure to be able to get a contract right now. Now, look, I wasn't comfortable with that. I invested heavily in understanding how do I improve the quality of my communication. I was doing a lot of role play for me to be able to get a result right now, because expireds, look, that's big game hunting. I can get an expired listing today. I can go out and call an expired listing today and go out and take that listing today. Same thing for sale by owners. Now, not as aggressive as expired. Pretty stereotypically, they take a little bit longer to be able to see results on for sale by owners, but those are more immediate results. Circle prospecting, even a little bit less so, but the opportunities may be immediate versus longer term. Okay, let's keep the train rolling here. And so different types of prospecting. If you turn to page 4 in your Ignite Elementals prospecting manual, page 4, there's different types of prospecting here, variety of prospecting methods. And how about different types of prospecting that you guys have experienced, and what's worked well for you, or what you think is the best type of prospecting. What is the best type of prospecting, anyways? I know that's a loaded question, but let's hear some of your thoughts on Slido or through MashMe on what's going on with your thoughts around prospecting, which ones you've engaged with that you've seen really good results with or less so, or what you think may be the best. And again, for me at that time in my business, the market was crashing, and so there was no open houses. They were all open. They were called foreclosures. And so I couldn't hold open houses because it just wasn't happening. And distressed properties were all over the place. So I had to be able to go out there and create expired and for sale by owner opportunities. Those were short sale listings. 90% of the market in Las Vegas was short sale or expired. But for me, that's what I had to go out and do. Now, my business began to transform and evolve into opportunities for database. But certainly at the beginning of my business, Expired and FSBO, because of the opportunities for more immediate results, made the most sense to me. You guys have so much. Here we go. Open houses. Okay. Open houses. What do you like about open houses there, Misty? Mr. Anonymous, the one you will do consistently. Love that. Absolutely. All forms of lead generation work. Now, how efficient and how effective they are, but certainly the prospecting that you do consistently at the end of the day is what's going to provide you the most opportunity and that you feel most inclined to engage in, because look, there's going to be prospecting I know for certain I'm not going to do. Okay, let's put those aside. And we're going to get to that in a little exercise in a minute. There's forms of lead generation that I'm comfortable doing. And then there's forms of lead generation that I need to get uncomfortable doing, because Gary talks about this. Look, everybody needs to master their database. That's a golden ticket for everybody. But then there should be 2 or 3 other options. We're going to look at that on what you're engaging at a higher level. And for some of you, you're going to have to get uncomfortable with that and know that there's going to be an element of consistency that's going to be required for you to be able to see results. All righty. So prospecting methods. Let's deep dive on prospecting methods and looking at the different ways that you can engage prospecting. So we'll be looking at prospecting-based marketing enhanced prospecting opportunities, door knocking, agent-to-agent referrals, open houses, and social media. That's certainly a new one. That's not new, but not this social media is new, but for the old Ignite content. That's obviously played such a big role just even in the last 5 years of the opportunities for social media prospecting that may produce immediate results. So let's jump in and look at page 7 for door knocking, page 7. And there we go, page 7. Okay, so what are some of the limiting beliefs that you guys have around door knocking? So I'm going to throw that question out there while I start to maneuver through some of this content. What are limiting beliefs you may have around door knocking that have prevented you from being more consistent door knocking, or from even attempting door knocking? So the first little icon there says approach. And, oh, here we go. Misty's, thank you, Misty, for engaging. I love that. I appreciate that. In our area, Kansas City, we can hold open houses for other agents. If done well, they generate buyer and sellers easily and with little cost. I love that. Easily and definitely with little cost. You can even borrow signs from agents who may be willing to allow you to borrow signs on loan for open houses. Approach. So let's jump back to the icon approach. Oh, here we go. People are jumping back in now. Creating preferred service providers lists and ask to be a preferred agent for door knocking. Okay, I'm scared that the homeowner
so let's pause that and
rude.
we'll kind of
Certainly.
fast forward through this. So when they talk about limiting beliefs, really what they're talking about, or actually let me ask you guys, what do you think they're talking about when you're talking about limiting beliefs?
Believing you can't do something when you really can, but it's your own thoughts are holding you back.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's the drunk monkey. You're getting in your own way, right? So, I think, are you guys liking it this way, or should I'm going to pull up the slide deck and we're going to kind of take it from here. I thought it was going to be an awesome way of doing things, but I think that unless you guys disagree with me, I'd rather just kind of take over the presentation. You guys good with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys probably were like doing the same thing I was. So, let me get this down.
I'm scared of dogs. Now I love dogs. I had a big dog.
Here's my thing. I don't like to talk just for the sake of talking. I genuinely, if we're going to have you guys come here and take some time, I want you guys to get the core stuff and take things that are actionable right out of the gate. And I think that I have a very uncanny way of just really kind of getting to the point and really want to get you guys just the nuts and bolts of what we need to get you guys growing. So let me find where they were at on this. And there's really no point in talking about door knocking right this minute in the middle of COVID. Do you guys agree with that? Although, who here was on the team meeting? Did you guys listen to Miles Zhao?
Yeah.
Miles Zhao does a ton of business, and he went out, couldn't find anything with his buyers, and went and started finding him a house to buy, and has a few things. I haven't followed up with him yet to see how things have gone, but it worked out well. Okay, let me find out where the slide was that we were out on there. Okay. Okay, so we talked about door knocking, and I'm going to kind of breeze right over that. And let's talk about agent to agent referrals. Okay, now this is in page 6 of the book, so you want to maybe scroll to that page, and I will as well. So there will be referrals that come from other agents. Now, who are those referrals that they're going to come from? Like, are you going to get a referral from another agent in Irvine? Probably not, right? Where you're going to get a referral from is going to be building out relationships with, people in other states, other cities. Now, I'm a big fan, and you guys heard me say this before, is that you need to identify your who, but you also have to identify your primary market area. And that primary market area is like 3 to 5 miles, at most 10 miles, at most, right? Because if you really think where 10 miles gets us, 10 miles gets us to like Huntington Beach, right? 10 miles, it doesn't take us into LA. It pretty much covers all of the Southern California region. But there's going to come a time where your time is going to be more valuable than the commission. Now, I won't fault you guys if in the beginning you guys start going everything for everybody everywhere, right? We got to get you guys doing a deal. And when I first got into the business, I was working 3 counties in Salt Lake. It wasn't as dense, right? You actually had like nothing to look at on a stretch to different counties. Here, you just have one big city. The density is great. If I could have, one day you guys will be able to talk to my wife. And I used to have this rule, that I did not want to go out more than 5 miles from my home. Everything I had was right there. I lived right there at the freeway. There was no reason. I used to hate going downtown. And downtown, and when I grew up there, or where I lived in Utah, was like a 15-minute drive. Boy, that moving to Southern California really cured me of that. I mean, God, it takes 15 minutes to get across the street. So agent to agent referrals, growing a base, maintaining it, and managing the relationship could generate you referral business, right? The way that you do that is you could do that online. You could do that by going to, in-person events, but you could actually make a really good supplemental income. Yeah, even right now, especially now because more people are moving out of California. So you can make a good supplemental income by referring people out. And if people come in, you could actually make more by getting the referrals in, right? Because the interesting thing is that you're going to make less by referring out because the average sales price is going to be lower across the country. You'll make more. You'll probably make if you did a full commission referring out, you'll probably make more on the referral coming in. It makes sense in my head. Prospecting, Command referrals. Command has a function in there that allows you to send and receive referrals. That's part of the whole KW network. So if you get somebody, you can see on here, you have Oregon, you have Hawaii, you have Texas. These are things where you can actually receive and send and receive referrals. So one of the things that's really, really powerful about Command is that it's a single platform that the entire company is on. So when you guys are doing transactions, you'll be uploading your files, you'll be managing your files. So it's a really great system. It doesn't do everything for everybody all the time. There's a lot of things that's on the roadmap for development, but one of the great things is the prospecting. You can manage your referrals. Another form of prospecting is open houses. Right. Open houses, middle of COVID, not so much. Now, as we're all getting the vaccine, they just opened the restaurants. We're going to be able to start doing open houses. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Let me ask you this question. Who here can tell me the benefits to the seller of the purpose of an open house? Can you think of anything, Russell? Can you
So
think
they
of, you guys are
can-
the ones who are sharing your cameras. So if you guys
Yeah,
are sharing
so-
your cameras, so I'm calling on you.
So the sellers can like, I guess just like physically see who is coming in and like what type of buyers are interested.
Okay.
That's just my thought on it. And it's also
Okay.
like they're able not necessarily talk to the people that are coming in, but just get a sense of how their pricing went by just visually seeing it.
Okay. What about you, Matt? Can you think of anything? If you were selling your house, can you see the benefit? If I came as a realtor and say, hey, I'm going to do some open houses, can you see the benefit? Any benefits to that?
Yeah, you could build a report from what the buyers or the market thinks your home.
Okay.
The price, the layout, the interior, the comparables, what they're looking
Okay.
for. I think if you have people coming in, you can build a report from potential buyers, and then you can relay
Okay.
it back to your seller.
Okay. So you guys might be a little bit surprised about what I'm going to say. And I'm not saying anything bad about open houses, but from the benefit of the seller, do you think it is beneficial to have a bunch of strangers walking through your house, especially in this day and age, than not to have a bunch of strangers working in your house? Okay. Now, 25 years ago is when, I was 23 years ago, technology was really starting to catch up, right? You were starting to do, I was doing video reviews of houses. I was walking through, I had the old Nokia flip camera, everything that we have in this camera. I had like 5 different things. I looked like Batman back when I got into it. Now I have the Star Trek tricorder now. If we look at the demographic or what buyers do, right now they're going online to look for properties. Like 97% say that they find their home online. And when you start looking at, okay, safety. So do you want everyone coming through your house when you can do a 3D modeling of the house and when you can do private showings? See, now, if you look at it from the eyes of the seller, Matt, like if you put your home on the market right now, would you rather have a dozen strangers walking through your house, going through your refrigerator, looking in your medicine cabinet? Or would you rather have that as a bottleneck, have a bunch of marketing online so people can actually look at it? So now it's filtering through. And if you're making them jump through hoops during COVID, signing a PED and all that other jazz, then having a private showing, the benefit's more there. Now, here's the benefit to open houses. This is a thing about prospecting. Open houses is a cultural phenomenon in real estate. We have the technology that really eliminates it. We've proven that during COVID. They will come back because it's a culture, right? But from a listing agent point of view, you're going to want to talk to the seller about the merits of having open houses, and then whether or not you didn't. I've done less than 5 open houses, not counting the new construction I did in luxury, right? That doesn't count. Sitting in a model home does not count as an open house. But on resale, I bet you I've done less than 5 in the number of homes I've sold. You don't need them, but they're a great place to get business. A lot of times you're getting buyer business, but a lot of time those buyers actually have a house to sell. And to your point, Russell, is that it does give you an opportunity to build relationships. So if it's an open house in your primary market area, you got to get a return on investment, right? But if you're going to do an open house, if you're going to take something up in Valencia, and don't drive 3 hours to go do an open house.
Hey, Brett.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
I'm not sure why if you go to like overseas and other countries, they don't do the open house. And I think in America, it's kind of ingrained in people, even though, like you said, there's 3D there's virtual tours, there's videos, like there's all these things that you
Yeah.
technically don't need to do. I don't know why if we're like ass backwards or something, but it's kind of gotten to a point where like real estate agents honestly have hammered it into the client's mind that they need to do an open house, and it's like, you know, I certainly don't like them, but
Well, let's
just
look
kind
at it
of
this way though, Duke. I mean, there's a
uh
whole thing, and it comes down to culture and it comes down to tradition.
yeah,
Pre-internet, the only way you could really get to see a home was through an open house,
yeah, that made
right?
sense at that point in time.
And it became cultural. But as time gone on, right, it just hasn't changed. So sellers, our job as real estate professionals, because we focus on taking and selling listings. I'm not going to talk you guys out about doing a buyer, but I'm really wanting to help you guys focus on listings. You need to look at things from a here and now. And one of the things that's going to set you apart is being honest with them, and doing exactly what I did. Hey, Russell, I know you want to sell this house. It's $1 million house. Do you really want to have 36 strangers walking through, going through your underwear drawer? No. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have a professional photographer come out here. Okay. They come here when the sun comes up, best time to do photos. We're going to do photos. I'm going to have a guy come over here and do 3D modeling of your house so people can walk through it virtually. We could even, if they have a VR headset, they can literally walk through it virtually. And then any person that's interested with that, they've got to go through me and they got it through my office. And I want to make sure that either A, if they have a loan, they have to be properly qualified, or B, if they are claiming that they're going to buy cash, I have to have proof of funds. That's showing value. That's showing what you're doing, because every other real estate agent, they're just going to go with the normal playbook. Yeah. I'm going to send out some postcards. I'm going to post it on social media. I'm going to call your neighbors. Now, all of that should happen, but when you're dealing with, a higher end consumer or any consumer, you want the lower range. You don't have to do hardly anything. You really don't want to do anything. Go after short sales, go after foreclosures, right? They don't care what you sell it for. They don't care what the commission is, and they don't want it marketed. But other challenges come with it, right? So, but yeah, Duke, I agree with you 100%, man. But, you and I are not going to change the culture. It will change over time as the new generation comes in. But right now, the average seller is 57 years old. The average buyer is like 48 in our marketplace, or actually, I think in the nation. So until that age will probably still remain the same. But while the millennials are actually kind of gearing up and getting to that age, that's where you're going to start seeing things gradually change. So right now, don't hate the game, just run with it, get some leads. Ultimately, you'll have so many listings that you're not going to want to sit in an open house. You'll have someone else sit in an open house and sell the property.
Got it.
Social media. Look, guys, people don't use social media the way they should use social media, right? We've talked about this, the way that you prospect digitally. You need to have a digital strategy for prospecting, and that's creating content. And that's creating content about the motivations of who your ideal client is in your market area. But then you utilize social media as your distribution method, and also a method actually to people to get to know you, right? So there's a whole way to do this, but prospecting is not just telephone. Prospecting is not just analog. It's not just door knocking. You can use the digital component too, and it's extremely powerful to do it. In fact, tying into this lead, be prospecting based, marketing enhanced, use social media, 20% business, 80% personal. I'm going to be honest with you. I do 80% business, 20% personal, because that's the way I built my social media. If you guys are friends with me on Facebook, which all of you should be, and if you're not, we need to be friends, what you'll see is the people who are in my group are all real estate agents, because my who is real estate agents, not just on my position in Keller Williams, but also my position as a trainer and a coach, right? On the role playing group, on the skills. So when I deliver a message, any content that I put on there, is geared towards that. So I would encourage you guys to get in there and start becoming members of local Facebook groups that are local and start engaging with people. You have to optimize your Facebook profile. Let them know you're a realtor. Let them know how awesome you are. Let them know, because you and I both know that when somebody responds to you or when somebody friend requests you, they creep on you first, right? They look at your landing page. So if you optimize that, and I'm so glad that we're talking about this, because I should come up with a class to teach you guys on how to optimize your social media page. Would that be something of value? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Remind me of that, Duke. You're the scribe. But that's what we're talking about, being business and personally enhanced. Okay, so that talks about the deep dive in the prospecting methods. Let's take a deep dive and develop your plan. So take action and develop your plan. So in this bold letters, you got 80%, got 90% of their business from the 5 sources or less. Okay, 5 sources or less. That's what we're talking about with your who, right? Don't try to be everything to everybody all the time. Everybody needs to have a center of influence. Every single person needs to have that. You need to grow that on a daily basis, right? You need to focus on other things too. I always say that you need 3 to 5 different sources of business in order to grow your business, because you can't just rely on one, but you also need to have different trigger mechanisms too. You can't just operate on a analog channel, right? That's what we did back in the 70s. You don't got to grind that hard. We work smarter, not harder nowadays. And we know that. Do you know of anyone that doesn't go to Google when they have a question? I mean, honest to God, I can't even say who here uses the internet or who uses Google. Now you have to reframe that question and say, who here knows somebody that has been living under a rock for the last 2 decades and doesn't know Google? Google has 95% of the entire planet's search. And the next runner-up is YouTube, right? So there are different means. You got to have that prospecting base. You got to increase your skill set. You got to be into the role playing, enhance your skills, because all of these, ultimately, you're going to have a conversation. But you need to have 5 different methods. Your sphere of influence, your expired listings could be one. For sale by owners could be one. Doctors could be one. Dentists could be one. There's so many demographics. Parents, PTA, right? People that live in a certain school district, you name it. Divorcees. You guys want to have a hard transaction? You guys want, go work somebody who's getting a divorce. You have to have the same conversation with 2 different people, and they always try to bring you into it. And they always want to fight about the commission. Like they want to fight with you in the commission. That's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's the only thing that people getting divorced can combine and be right on, is the compensation that you guys get. So I've done like 2 of those. And the only reason why I've done 2 of those is because of the experience with both of them. So, we have, let me just say some off. Referral business from your sphere. You got to work your sphere of influence. Past clients. You can purchase leads, sign calls. There's a lot of different sources that you'll get your business, but what you'll find is that whatever you pay attention to will grow. So work on identifying. I'm giving you your first one, sphere of influence. Work on your second and third. Let's figure out a way to implement all that. Take action and develop your plan. Okay, so this list right here talks about the activities: door knocking, calls to spheres, agent referrals, 19 contact newsletters. And then this here socializes, prioritize your list, not alphabetically, right? Based off of what your business plan is in regards to how you're wanting to deal with it. And then it also talks about focusing on the activities that are going to generate you the most business long-term. Nobody wants to get into business to whereas you want to take a listing in 2025. Okay. You don't want to work that timeline. We want to do things like yesterday, Any questions on this, guys? Is this better than the video? All right.
Yes.
I'm glad. So that was putting me to sleep. That was, that goes to show I'm perfectly fine with trying things out, but I will axe that when I find out that it's just not working. Activity, developing a prospecting plan. Guys, you guys got the prospecting plan. Mimic mine. 10 to 2, 10 from 10 a.m. to noon, that's my golden hours. Except for Wednesdays, because I have regional meetings I have to be on, except for Wednesdays, you will not find me doing anything except prospecting, lead follow-up, or do an appointment between the hours of 10 and 2. Sometimes in the afternoon, typically between 1 and 2 is kind of that other golden hour. I'll find that report that I have referenced to you guys. I'll send that to you guys so you guys have access to it about the cold calling report on the study on how effective is cold calling. Now, it's been a decade, if not longer, but so those numbers probably aren't going to be as effective as they were a decade ago, just because the advances of technology and how accurate call screening is. But all right, guys, that's it. You guys, did you guys take something from that? What are your ahas? Russell, what's your aha that you took from that?
Yeah, I would say my aha is what the part in the video where he said that for each, like when he does his prospecting calls, obviously he's doing different clients. He'll prep himself like 15 minutes before each batch of people that he would be prospecting.
Oh, that's interesting. So here's one thing that I encourage you guys to do is you've got to role play whatever script you're going to be using before you actually use it.
Yeah.
And that's why I have that role playing group at such and such times so that you can actually, you can warm up. As you guys get older, you'll find that the warm-ups that you didn't think really mattered when you were younger matter.
Yeah.
Matt, what's your takeaway?
Planning out like your system, because even though I have leads coming in, they're like paid leads. I'm still having a hard time blocking and having a system to manage that same time block that I have, which is pretty
Yeah, you got a time block. Now I'm that guy that has a color coded time block. I'm that guy that does that. It took me time to get to there, right? It's not something. Start with your family first, put birthdays, put holidays, put everything in your calendar. You work around your family. Okay. That's why we do what we do. Laura, you still online with us? Can you share an aha that you might have taken?
It's also the time blocking part that's what I need to do as well.
Okay. Would it be, okay. So that's 2. So I think maybe what I should need to do is maybe put together a time blocking class as well. Right. So I'll work on that. Duke, Scribe, write that down.
Time
Duke,
blocking
share
and
your aha.
yeah. My biggest thing was definitely the time blocking and how to systematize. So then you can just work, I'm working way too hard right now. So it's kind of like, telling you. So yeah, making an effort to time block and then systematize everything and use that social media, the digital campaign, like you said, or that landing page to kind of, drive more business. But yeah, that's my struggle.
So now I have a question for you guys. Okay. It's been a long time since I was a new agent. And there's a lot of things that you guys might be having challenges in that doesn't hit my radar. What's the main challenge that you have right now that you guys need help on that you're stuck at? Can you guys share? I mean, anyone can chime in on that. Where are you guys stuck at? If I had a magic wand, right, and I did a spell, what do we need?
I would say the time blocking for me, it's a little bit hard to stay on track just because, like I'll do calls for 2 hours, but then like that will sometimes bleed into other things that I was supposed to do as well. Or sometimes I don't make enough calls. So I don't know how to explain that.
So I'll tell you what, this is what I'm going to do for you guys, and I'll close on this. I'm going to put together a time blocking class. Maybe we'll do it next Monday. Let me see what we got going on there, because all of you guys said time blocking, and I know something about time blocking. So let me put something together. Let me help you guys do that. and let's get you guys growing. Is that fair?
That'd be
All right,
great.
guys. All right, I'll let you guys know when I can get that on the schedule. We'll keep it on one of these days at the same time, but we'll get that done really soon. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Brett.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. It's always great
All right.
having you guys on.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Thanks, Brett.